Hey everybody, it's Sarah, the Real Simple Mama, and this is called Chickens Chasing Each Other Over Pieces of Bread. And it is absolutely hilarious. But that's not the point of the video today. They'll just be the visual entertainment, so you don't have to look at my face. So I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama, and I wanted to do a video about chicken coop and chicken run spring cleaning, which is going to just be, a video of some general reminders, general suggestions as we start getting into warmer weather. A few disclaimers. First of all, I really appreciate every single person who comments with questions or suggestions or ideas or, whatever, because we're all trying to teach each other, and I certainly don't know everything, and I'm always humbled by all the great ideas and the great experiences of everybody all over the world. With that being said, obviously this is on YouTube, and I use YouTube Creator, I believe is the name of the app. It has been really screwy as far as giving me notifications when somebody's left a comment or liked something or, just said something. Sometimes I'm trying to click on it, and I'm doing this, through various devices, and I'm not able to reply to you at all, so please don't be offended. Please don't think I'm purposely shunning you. I'm trying to figure out what the deal is. Go Blue, go! What the deal is with YouTube Creator and replying to all of your comments, but I always see them and I always appreciate them, so thank you. This is hilarious. I need to make them little like soccer jerseys. I could name them after like famous soccer players. Ooh, look, Blue's in the lead again. Blue, you gonna be my striker? Love it. So the other disclaimer is, to be totally honest, those of you who have watched my other content, I'm not particularly intelligent. I'm not like the chicken whisperer or a guru. I haven't grown up with chickens or been doing this my whole life. I've had them about 2 years. And most of the stuff that I'm going to mention in this video is stuff that I've mentioned in other videos. I have, as you can see, a ton of videos. What? Brats. I have, I have videos that are just normal chicken chores, like, hey, if I want chickens, how much time do they take per day to take care of? And there's videos about winterizing your coop and preparing it. So this is going to be basically about like the different chores you need to do, like a spring clean out, particularly of your chicken coop, as well as being aware of chicken physiology. In other words, how do your birds keep themselves cool? How do they keep themselves warm? How does that work? Because you really do need to take that into consideration. The last thing I'll request is that you just be very cognizant of what your particular breeds need and the area of the world in which you live. I'm in, what? Brats? And they're like, oh, are you listening to me? Oh. I live in South Central Texas, so early February here. We're technically not out of winter yet. It's been in the 60s or 70s in the afternoons, but then, we had frost on our roof a couple of days ago, so it's this really goofy transition time. So you just need to be aware of, this video is for when your winter is definitely over. There's no more snow, there's no more freezes, like that has definitely passed, and now you're ready to go into warmer weather. So again, I don't think there's going to be anything particularly enlightening in this video, but just a good reminder of you going step by step through your coop and thinking about what you need to do. So I'm going to do my spring clean out this weekend, so don't judge, because this is sort of the before, if you will, as I go into the coop and stuff. What's up, Blue? What? Lacey is going through a molt, which is why she looks kind of ridiculous, and I laugh at her every morning. It's not as bad as it was. Gracie's coming out of it. All of my birds pretty much have gone through a molt, and there's Calypso. All right, so let's start over here. So the most obvious thing, I think, is completely cleaning out all of the bedding. Now, what I do sometimes during the year is, oh, we have another egg. I'm getting 2 or 3 a day now. I'm so excited. As you can see, again, this is my before, so no judging, no judging. The pine bedding is looking kind of pathetic. Obviously the pine that's in here is kind of old. There's feathers in here because everybody decided to molt and their feathers just go everywhere. Remember that chickens poop when they sleep, and I still have one bird, just because I have 5 birds in this coop, so they're a little bit maxed out for space. I do occasionally have one bird who sleeps in here, and again, without getting too graphic, your chickens only have one orifice to put out eggs and poop and everything else. So sometimes you get, dirty eggs or whatever. So this doesn't need to just be refilled. It needs to be emptied out. So throw everything away and get clean bedding. I also recommend getting a poultry dust. I don't remember if I have any in here. Let me look. But poultry dust is essentially... I'm trying to give you something to look at, and there's nothing to show you. Poultry dust comes in a can that's like this, and it's a very fine powder, and you could put it in with your bedding. It's safe for the chickens to touch, but it'll basically help keep mites and little tiny things away. Mites are like the poultry equivalent of fleas, and they want to get down to the skin level of your birds, and just suck on the nourishment of the quills, the base of their feathers, and just make your birds really sickly if you get a bad infestation. The problem with this spring cleaning, quiet please, it's not your turn. The problem with the spring cleaning, of course, is we're preparing for warmer weather, is all the bugs are going to come out. Hooray! So everything from, house flies to mosquitoes to mites. I do have another video on pests if you're interested in. I literally grabbed a whole bunch of like different kinds of bugs, like dead bugs, and was like, this is what this is, and this is what this is. But mites are really, really tiny, and they're just a big pain in the ass. So go to Tractor Supply, look on Amazon. Poultry dust is not expensive, and one big old like 16-ounce can will last you, with a coop this size with 4, 5, 6 birds, it'll last you a really long time. And you basically just dust it anywhere where your chickens are going to hang out, either in the nesting boxes or around by where they roost, and in their dust baths. You can use stuff like DE and stuff as well. That to me is a little bit more controversial, but just a poultry dust type thing. So the next thing you want to do is whatever you have under your roost bars. And for those of you who aren't aware, I have PDZ. I don't really want to touch it, but it's basically like cat litter, but it's for outdoors. And it will clump against the I don't know how to pronounce it, the urates, that's the pee part of chicken poop. But as you can see, I've just been refilling this as it gets low. I scoop stuff out and dump it in there, and it clumps together, and I literally have like a cat litter scoop is what I use to clean it out. This drawer of this Coop pulls out as well. So what I'm going to do when I do spring cleaning is take this all completely out, dump out all of that old PDZ that now has feathers in it, little pieces of poop in it, bedding in it, and I'm just going to completely dump it out. So again, not just filling it up, but you want to completely dump it out. You want everything totally clean. The roost bars, they're not, it's just wood. That's all it is. They're not mounted on it or anything. If somebody does something completely nasty on it, not only do I scrape it off, but I'll come put it out here in the sun and let it dry better. Let me know if you have put anything. I don't want to say like a sealant. I don't know if it would be advantageous to try to put anything on it as far as like a sealant or something to protect the wood. If you don't let poop sit on there for long, then I would think it wouldn't be that damaging. Certainly if your roost bars start to splinter or anything like that, you just want to check the health of anything like that. Check it. Does it need to be sanded? Does it need to be replaced? Yes. Nosy. Yes, ma'am. And this is a quick random tip. Remember, chickens, when they sleep with their feet flat. They do not grab onto things. That's not instinctively what they want to do. They do want to sleep flat. So the reason I got these big 2x4s as opposed to them having these little roosts is because they want to sit flat and basically just like sit on their feet, right? No escaping. Excuse me, ma'am. All right, so we've got clean bedding, clean PDZ, clean nesting boxes. Yes. I clean out feeders. My feeder I clean out regularly anyway because it's not that big. Waterers. Whether you've got an auto waterer like this, or just a bucket or whatever it is. Number one, if you're making something, make sure that it's food grade. Make sure that as much as possible, you're keeping it clean of algae and things like that. Mine is 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar per gallon, and that's 5 gallons. So I clean that out and scrub it with a brush every week. You can always flush stuff with white vinegar. When in doubt, use something around your chickens that's going to get the job done, but it's not going to be damaging to them. So that's why you'll hear me talk about vinegar a lot, things like that. I am going to add vinegar in the water year-round because it's not expensive and because why not? To me, if the risk factor is 0, then why not do it? Now, while we're here, I did want to mention, as you can see right now, this is blocked up. There's a bag on the other side for that other window, and then I've got like 3 walls here of the coop that are all blocked up. This was to block up the north wind, as well as it's also in case it's raining. and windy at the same time. So not rain falling straight, but rain blowing inwards or whatever. My kids are looking at the weeds that are almost as tall as they are. We do neglect our yard in the winter, so again, please don't judge. I told you. Hey, be careful though, because those have some thorns, okay? Those big weeds can have thorns, yeah. So I need to decide, going back to this, how much of this I want to keep. Now, you can see in my winterizing video, the winterizing video is the one that talks more about the difference between a draft and ventilation. Because even if it's below freezing, your chickens have got to have ventilation. Any poop that you've got in there will start breaking down into ammonia. Obviously, their little bodies being in there all night, every night, the heat, it gets warmer and warmer. So you don't want a huge contrast between it's really, really warm in there and it's really, really cold out here. That puts your birds into shock, and that's bad. So I want to make sure that I never, like right now, it's obviously not raining, so I keep that open. The other window is completely open. So I'm going to pull some of these tarps down, and you can reuse them. Like all it is like a wood staple gun and any of these bags that are plastic or that are reinforced. And then I got a set of these clips at the dollar store, and yeah. So the other thing you need to do with spring cleaning is you do want, just in case there's a random thunderstorm or something like that. And again, what you want to prepare for is if something goes down while you're not home, right? Where you can't go and you can't move their food and you can't move their water, you can't run and lock them up or whatever. So I'm probably going to take down this bag for sure, this one for sure, the one around the corner for sure. This like three-way zone, I'm probably going to leave that because it's going to protect their food. I hate having to dump out an entire container of food because the food gets wet. But as it gets warm, you want to be thinking about, okay, how much ventilation, look at this, how much ventilation do my birds need? So that's something else to keep in mind. As well for spring cleaning, that rake that I got is just an adjustable small rake. Just get something that you can shove into like underneath, and you just want to stir the dirt around, move it around. My chickens don't really hang out in that zone back there unless it's raining really bad. But you know, whether it's getting out old feathers or poop or whatever, just kind of stirring the dirt around. As far as the run, this to me is where there's a lot more customization. Yes. Hey, Blue. Blue, you're my girl. I love you so much. You're such a cool bird, Blue. And I'm getting blue eggs. Well, I can't tell if they're blue or green. I think they're green, but we'll see. Your chickens need a dust bath. I have a separate video about how to make a dust bath and why, but essentially you just want to make sure that there's a zone where they can go in there and they can shake around and look absolutely ridiculous. And that if it rains, the water can go straight down and into the ground. You don't ever want to use just a kiddie pool or something that's got a bottom on it. So if you did want to use a kiddie pool, cut the bottom out so that rain can essentially go through. And then worst case scenario, that zone is wet for a day or two, but it'll dry out. So refill their dust bath. Again, you can put poultry dust in it. You could put DE in it. You can put coarse sand, not playground sand, not the good stuff. Get the cheap stuff. But just fill up your dust bath. Make sure that they have a zone. See this? And as it gets warmer, they're going to want to do that. That's part of the way that chickens stay cool and that they get, you know, itchiness and mites off of them is by going in and shaking dust and dirt in between each of their layers of feathers. If you don't have a grazing box, especially if you're in a zone like this where your chickens have just killed the grass, I would give them a grazing box. I'm going to see if I can afford to make a second one next door. My grazing box did sort of make it through the winter. There are some random weeds and grasses going through, but there is some wheatgrass that's left. I do need to just take up a side and kind of reinforce it a bit better because it's sagging. But a grazing box is essentially a zone where there is a few inches, 3 or 4 inches of protected space where whatever plant you put in there, whether it's wheatgrass or it's barley or it's, you know, it's herbs or whatever, the chickens can bite at the leaves as they get taller, but they can't grab the plant by the roots and they can't kill it. So essentially you set it and forget it kind of. But as you can see, I mean, there's stuff that's still growing in our winter. I hope is pretty much done. The other stuff for the run is, you know, if you want to go through and clean out, I still find random trash and like rocks and like just random junk that I'm always cleaning out forever. Look at my peach tree. Look how pretty it is. But there's always random junk that I'm cleaning out of here. I am going to get more peat moss. I have a video on, you know, my thoughts on peat moss, what it is, why you may want it. It's great for moisture control, so you don't end up with like a muddy flood zone. Or you can get cheap dirt. What you want to remember if you're filling in a zone for your chickens is you don't want to put anything in it that has fertilizer in it. Any kind of fertilizer or anything like that. You just want to give them, like, you know, plain cheap topsoil is fine. But that's all they need. I hope to be adding more plants here. I want to just give them some shrubs. You want to make sure that the plants are safe for your chickens. That's going to depend largely on what zone you live in. You know, are you wanting flowers or herbs or bushes or whatever? All of the herbs, if you've watched my other content, all of the herbs that I had in their run have either died because they froze or because they got eaten / dug out of their spot to death. So I am going to try again now that I know more about, like, oh yeah, I guess I kind of needed to think about that. So we'll touch base with that later, because I do want to put some greenery in here that they won't be able to kill. Something that's bigger than them, you know, where they can kind of hide underneath it and dig and feel like they're being, I don't know, little spies or something. So that's the main stuff that I can think of. A couple of other suggestions that's kind of not necessarily spring cleaning, but just if you haven't done it, then think about. This is just like a suet feeder. It's really cheap, and you can stick all random kinds of produce and stuff in there. Chickens are looking at my kids. So cute. I'm going to look into getting a clear plastic tarp, like a sheet from Walmart or something like that, that I can do. If you see where those, like, the cinder blocks are, the chickens, they dust bathe in the dirt in there, and it doesn't matter how much I fill it up, like they do it all the time anyway, so I've kind of just accepted it and like put up the flag of surrender. But I don't want the dirt all escaping out. I want the dirt to stay in there so I don't have to keep filling it up. So I've thought about getting just some clear plastic tarp and not putting it up all the way so that it gets hot in there, but mainly only putting it up like a foot, so it would be to there, and going all the way around, so if they go in there and they're kicking the dirt around, it stays inside. If you haven't waterproofed your coop as far as sealing, I would suggest that you do that. Try to do it while your chickens are out, because you don't want them inhaling that if you can help it. This cheap little coop, it was less than 200 bucks. This is the Innovation Pet, and I have all different kinds of reviews and information and hacks here on my channel, but it's, for the price, it's done a really, really, really good job. I've had it for 2 years, and I'm really happy with it. Yes. But if you haven't done a sealant, I would suggest it. Some of my wood and stuff has warped anyway, but I haven't had to replace any pieces, knock on wood, and it served its purpose well. So just thinking about getting into warmer weather, what you need to think of. The other thing I would suggest is if you are in a place that it gets really, really hot, start thinking about what you're going to do to help your chickens. Chickens will do, overall, most breeds will do much better being cold in the winter than they are being hot in the summer. Summer heat for chickens can be deadly. Both of the chickens that were in my original flock, I had her, 2 other hens, and then 3 roosters. I had a 6 original. The roosters I had to get rid of because I just can't have them here. But the other 2 hens that I have lost, I lost both of them because of the heat. And it was, unfortunately, the first time I just had no idea. The second time one passed away, I had just had a surgery, and we didn't come out and check on, you know, my husband was taking care of me, and he didn't come out and check on him early enough. So do be thinking about what you're going to do to keep them cool. Chickens don't normally like hanging out in water. They will cool down most quickly through their feet, so them standing in something cool is a really quick way for them to cool down. But they don't, you know, you don't need to give them like a swimming pool or anything like that. They won't really jive on that. You want to make sure that they have a lot of shade. You want to make sure that they have dust baths, because it helps them stay cool. And then obviously your birds have to always have access to clean water. What I did with this waterer, and then with the other water I have that's just a 5-gallon bucket, is I freeze water bottles that essentially are, you know, it's like ice, but it won't disintegrate. And I just drop some of those into their water every day. The other thing that we've got that we barely got to use, and then the weather got cold, is this crazy looking gray hose as a mister that I can hook up right here at the base of my sad little pecan tree to a hose. Chickens, again, they're not thrilled about being wet. And regular chickens, their outer layers of feathers are waterproof anyway, but it cools the ground. And so it's just like a nice little, like a little awning for them, right? So I mean, you guys know me. I don't normally really come on here and say you need to buy this and you need to buy this, and I'm not like a huge like product or brand pushing person, right, Gracie Bird? But the only thing that I can really think of in this video that I would suggest you get is a poultry dust or equivalent. You could get, like I've got a Coop deodorizing spray for when it gets hot. That's basically, hey look, it's white vinegar and water and a couple of essential oils that are safe for chickens. And I just do that to help deter flies. Yes. But I mean, other than that, it's just going to be a matter of cleaning everything out inside, thinking about ventilation as it gets hot, thinking about what you're going to do to keep the birds cool. Again, in case something weird happens and you're not home, what can you do for your birds? And then thinking about what you can do in the run. We've got some interesting prospects coming up in the future, so we are not sure if we're going to plant a whole bunch of stuff here or if we're going to kind of just chill and wait and see what happens. But definitely giving the birds some greenery. You know, I didn't want to bother putting anything in the ground, but as it gets closer to March and April, oh my gosh, I want to plant stuff. Like I've started buying little packets of seeds and I'm like, yes! So we'll see what happens. But that's the gist of spring cleaning. If your birds have molted, the only other thing I can suggest real quick, as my kids do the loudest game of hide and seek ever, is if your birds have finished their molt, you need to clip their wings. The next time we need to do it, I'll try to do a video if I can get enough people to help. You only need to clip your birds' wings after they've molted. Once you clip their wings, they don't continue to grow like fingernails or anything like that. So they're good until they've molted and grown new feathers. Right, Lacey Bird? And then you just grab them and hold them upside down and clip. And if you're lazy / paranoid like us, you only clip one wing. So hopefully we'll get some new toys and some new fun stuff in here for the girls as it gets warmer. But I'm surrounded, guys. I can't escape. Help. Help. There's like a swarm. But I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama. Again, I appreciate your comments, your suggestions, your help, your love. I will be responding as best I can, but tell me what I forgot, because I'm sure I forgot something. It's been like a super ADD video. But I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll be talking about pests and about all kinds of other fun stuff. So I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama. Thanks for watching. Say bye, girls.